Welcome to another glorious episode of It's Friday, Fool! Alright guys, so this week's tool is my bead roller. So I'm sure there's some of you guys that have no idea what a bead roller is or have never seen one. So I'm just gonna go over very briefly how this thing works. Super simple. Basically you got two dies up front. These dies roll in opposite directions, okay? So if I were to put a piece of metal in there and press the throttle on this thing and got the beads to roll, it could roll whatever kind of bead I want in that metal. And the way that it does that is it has this handle here. You can see when I turn this handle, these dies either separate or they close. See that? And so what you do is you put your panel in there that you're gonna bead roll. It can be aluminum or steel. And then you just tighten this thing down and it'll actually crimp the panel. It's gonna crimp it like this. Most of the time that's basically what it's doing, okay? So it crimps the panel, it puts like a little crimp in it. And then as you mash the pedal, it's gonna roll those dies and pull that panel through it. And as it comes through, you can kind of twist the panel to steer and do the shapes that you want. When you get to a stopping point, you just unscrew it, count how many times you unscrew it, say 3, 4, 5, move the panel to a different area, back down 3 or 4 or 5, whatever, to match the times that you unscrewed it. Really simple. There's your pedal, just speed pedal. This is a variable speed, so the more you press this pedal, the faster the wheels turn, okay? This particular unit has a forward and a reverse, so you could actually reverse the wheels mid-bending if you needed to without raising the dies. Some of these have a dial on them that'll actually change. It's a variable speed dial that changes how much speed you can get out of the pedal. So, for instance, if you want to go real slow, you can turn that dial down, and then even when you mash the pedal all the way to the floor, it's still only going to go, the maximum speed still only going to be what you have set on that dial, which is pretty useful if you're doing some really intricate parts. Sometimes it's kind of hard to maneuver this with your feet. I will say that even full speed on this thing is not really that fast, so I guess depending on what you're doing, really depends on whether those extra features are needed. There's a lot of them out there that are hand crank or not variable speed. I wouldn't recommend any of those. If you think that you're going to use it for a long time, I would spend some extra money and get a good one with a good throat depth and variable speed on it and grow into it. Guys, this is one of those tools that if you're an entry-level fabricator or a mid-level fabricator like myself, I mean, I don't claim to be the best fabricator out there. There's all kinds of guys that are way better than I am. This tool right here, you can, without a huge learning curve, you can kind of get right into the game and make some custom stuff. And people that see your work won't really know that you haven't been doing it all your life. They're great. They'll roll sheet metal. You can do artwork. You can do all kinds of stuff. If you have enough dies, you can do just about anything. There's actually some amazing work done on some of these bead rollers floating around Instagram and on YouTube. I've done a couple little things myself. Nothing crazy fancy, just a couple little signs. I'm just going to take a second and kind of show you some of the features of this particular bead roller. This one came from Eastwood. Like I said, there's several brands out there that look very similar to this. Same throat depth, kind of have the same shape. They all have a little bit different features. Some better than others, according to a lot of people. I'll leave the research up to you. You guys can go search them. Tell you what, I'll put links of all of them in the description. You can go check them out. I'm also going to put these particular dies here. If you already have a bead roller, these particular dies right here are Mittler Brothers art step dies. These things are great. I use them for almost everything that I've done thus far. There's some other dies that I want to get that'll do things that these won't, but I don't have them yet, so these are my go-to dies right now. Most of them are a top and a bottom die. These are just a standard bead roll. So it just rolls a bead the shape of this die into your panel. You can put it on the top or the bottom, either way, whatever way you like to work it. This kit came with several different sizes of this bead roll. So this is your medium size. This one here is a little bit smaller. And then it came with a large bead roll. And these are nice because in panels you can actually roll a bead in a panel and stiffen it. You're putting some dimension in that panel, so if you're doing like floor panels or you're doing a firewall or something like that, a normal piece of sheet metal, aluminum, or steel is going to be kind of flimsy and floppy. You put a couple beads in there, it gives that panel some dimension and it makes it a lot stiffer and strengthens it a good bit. So that's the main purpose for these here. You also have on these kits, this is a 45. So you can see you mash the top and the bottom together and it creates a 45-degree bend on it, which is pretty nice for certain things. It kind of gives it a different look. You don't have just that hump, so you can kind of make some three-dimensional designs with it. You can pop some pieces out, say if you're doing a door panel. So these are nice. And then this kit came with some cutting dies, and I ordered these separate. These are Mittler Brothers. I'll actually put a link in the description for these also. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this episode of It's Friday, Fool! And you need this tool. It's a great tool. Like I said, I'll drop everything in the description as far as links go. You can go do the research yourself, check it out, see if it's something you think that you might want for your shop. Appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments. I usually answer everything, so I should get to it. It's Friday, fool!